Hey, what's happening, everybody? I wanted to make this video to be able to give anybody that was interested the opportunity to take advantage of the Google guaranteed local service ads. I'm going to walk you through give you a few pointers, but also give you a couple things to kind of keep in mind as we are going through this video. So this is a newer and developing product from Google. So with that, there's a couple things to take into consideration as we're going through this. Is number one, they're rolling this out for more and more industries and services. So you think about Google, they really started with like almost kind of like a home service, like a plumber, electrician, things like that, dentist, stuff in your local area that you would look up and search for. And so with that being said, a lot of the categories there, it's limited in regards to how they've built it out, which it'll make more sense when I get to as we're going through. I feel like this could be an amazing opportunity, and it might be one of those things that's not around for a really long time because of demand. So capitalizing while it's here and our fingertips can be a really, really great opportunity. So some of the things that if we have available to us, we might want to use, which I'll get to, some things like a Google My Business that you are should having a Google My Business already set up, or Google Business Pages, or Google Business Profiles, which are referred to now. If you have that up with reviews on it, that is something that we're going to want to be able to pull up. But then also, they do have a place for insurance, so errors and omissions, like insurance or liability. And again, this is going to really speak towards like some stuff. So I'm just going to jump right in and walk through some things while we're talking about it. So you can Google, or I'll share a link, but Google Local Service Ads is the name of it. You can Google it. It'll pull it up. We're going to want to come over to their main page. Go ahead and hit Get Started there. And that is going to bring you to a page that looks like this. The very first page before this is really basic, just your zip code and your industry that you're in. And then it's going to bring us over to this page, which is the second one right here. So that's where we're at right now. I went ahead and filled some of this in to save us some time. On this, there's really only a couple things that I want to point out on this. You have your business name. This is going to pull in some information. So if you have it, you want to share whatever, like your Google business profile, because it's going to want to pull from that and use that as like a search to pull in some stuff on the next page. Now, there's one thing that I really want to point out. We want to put the number of agents to be 0, because the way it's set up right now, they are going to want to do background checks on however many agents you have available. And to give you some context, the reason they have this is, like, let's say you're a plumber, you're a plumbing service, and you're sending people into people's houses. They want to make sure that all of those people check out and there's not any concerns to give them the Google guaranteed badge. So I share that with the caveat of saying, like, we want to set this at 0, so we don't have to do this extensive ongoing background check for a dozen people that may be in your office. And when you're getting started, you probably just want to be one individual that is receiving these calls when you get through. Now, when we go through, we're going to plug in the basic information. You can click on, yes or no is a storefront visit, and yes is fine if you have a physical location. It's going to pull up on maps. So I'm going to click over. This is where we're going to get to some kind of context. Now, because we're not paying for impressions, we're only paying for phone calls in this particular situation. You can select pretty much as much of your marketable area that you want to engage with. So you can go around, you can add in multiple areas, you can search, you can pick and choose. Hey, I only want to show up here, I only want to show up here, I only want to show up there. But there's no real downside to adding more area in, because hey, there may be less competition. You might show higher compared to other people. So if you show up and you have 30 reviews and the next people just have 5 reviews, then the probability of them calling you is going to be higher. And again, you're only paying for the calls itself. So you can type in, multiple different areas there if you want. So I'm going to go ahead and click over on this. Use your judgment when you're building that out, but I do want to share that with you. Now, when we get to this point, if you are a real estate agent, you can pick the ones that you want to focus on. If you are a lender, now we want to make sure that we are only focusing on like buy side stuff that we want to show up for. So we would not want to have, if you're a lender, we wouldn't want to do something like seller's agents and stuff like that. But, first time home buyer, buyer's agent, if you wanted to get into like new construction or relocation, those could be very good categories from a lender standpoint. If you're on the real estate side, obviously, you may not want to select like foreclosed properties if that's not your cup of tea, or that you're like, hey, I'm not a luxury person. Like, I don't mind those, but I don't want to like get those. Now, if that's your jam, like if you are a luxury agent, then by all means, that will be a great thing. So we can kind of pick and choose our services that we want to appear for when people are searching. Now, so I'm just going to, for the sake of demonstration purposes, I'm just going to do first-time home buyers, buyer agents, and seller agents just for this. I'm a newer person, but I'll take some sellers if they want. So I'm going to go ahead and agree to the professional license verification, and then go over onto this next page. Now, you can set your business hours, whatever you want. Feel free to set that to whatever. Now, with this being said, having this match up with your stuff is good. Like if you have service hours available, I've heard mixed feedback in regards to the priority of showing up in regards to like whether or not you're going to be shown during certain hours when people search. So I would probably just fire off just standard business hours, but there's really no right or wrong answer on that. I'm just going to go ahead and click this. I'm open 7 days a week, 9 to 5. And it's going to give you just kind of like a little, preview of what you're looking at there. And click over on this. Now, this is where we're going to get into a little bit more of what we do. Now, the verification process with this, right now we've heard feedback of weeks for verification and approval. Sometimes, they have, they got to go into like a secondary, like almost human review of certain things. So there's some things to take into consideration here. We have your headshot. Obviously, that's, should be easy. You can upload a picture of yourself. Real estate agent license. Now, if you are a lender and you don't necessarily fall into this immediate category, what we got back is pick the best, the most appropriate category for yourself. Obviously, on your expiration date, you don't necessarily want to, like if you have like a renewal date or something, you just want to get it as close to that date as possible. But we just don't want to have it like ending anytime soon, where it's like you have like they're going to cut you off and you probably have to go back in and reapply some stuff. You'll go ahead, go through this process. You can read, some of the stuff, or, they do kind of like an explanation of the certain things here in regards to this. But the licensing, it's Google, so they have some pretty robust resources as far as like knowing information, being able to look up and confirm information. Then we get into proof of insurance. Now, this is something that if you have it, great. Like your errors and omissions insurance, from the feedback that we've gotten, this is not necessarily an absolute requirement, but the support and stuff, again, there is a support number here that you can actually call, and they can help walk you through this stuff. But it's one of those things where they say, yes, this is something, but we've also gotten back some stuff that it's that they're seeing stuff going through and it's without that insurance, because you're not like, the nature of the business. You're not like going into somebody's house and working on their house type stuff. So if you have it, great, go ahead and plug that in there. Your company may have a copy of your errors and insurance or liability insurance, whatever you may have. But they're specifically what they're saying is $250. And this is just something too, while we're on this topic, like, you can, if you don't have it, this is not necessarily something bad to get for yourself for any reason. For, let's say if you're a real estate agent, you're going out and you're showing properties and you get in a car wreck, you can have, that's going to help. I mean, it could be a number of different things. You mess up on some paperwork or whatever. Somebody loses a home. If you're a lender, realtor, whatever it may be, this insurance is very affordable. So you can get, $250,000 worth of coverage for probably, $100, maybe $200 for an entire year. So it's not something that's super crazy as far as cost is concerned if you wanted to get it anyway, which, it's not a bad thing to have a little bit of insurance there. So customer reviews is the next thing here. We'll jump in with the customer reviews. When you click on this, you actually, it's going to prompt you to pull up some links, and there is send previous customers, and this is actually should have the ability to pull in your existing Google My Business. You do need to have at least 5 reviews on your Google Maps to be eligible. So we do want to get some stuff to get reviews and get verified. So you can use this. It will match up with, and it will be, so if you don't have a Google My Business with reviews on it, we can get a link to get reviews. And so we'll do like, when you just, Agent Flywheel Austin, or actually this one's nice and clean. Yes, confirm. So we can, take this link, and if you don't have reviews, if you don't have Google My Business, again, it says you need at least 5 reviews for your local service ads to appear in the search results for real estate agent. So we're going to want to use this and go get some reviews. Hey, can I get some reviews here? And if you're watching this, if you're inside like our members group, I'm sure everybody would be more than happy to help out with that. So next portion here, we're going to get to, and again, it'll search to pull up your business there. And again, it says, it'll take 1 to 2 hours, and then you can, a lot of times that'll pull up there, where we don't necessarily have to use this link, but it'll pull that up. So if you have like a custom link, which I'll show you on another page. Now we get to budget. Now with the budget, you can set your own budget. You can do some preset options here. There's a pretty cool calculator thing. Then you get into your billing agents, and then this is where you would add on so billing should be pretty self-explanatory. But this is where you get into adding more agents, which, as I was mentioning earlier, we don't necessarily want to get into. Before we go on too far, I want to touch back on some stuff that I probably should have not skipped over. On the second page that we're filling out, there is a place for a phone number. Now, on the phone number section, we want to use a tracking number. And I'm going to pop over to our platform. So if you're using our company platform for your if you're an existing client and you're using your conversion platform for converting your leads and everything, where I'm at right now, I'm over in settings, phone numbers, and then when we click on the phone numbers, these are going to be our tracking numbers that are going to be able to do, that we can build in some automations and build in some stuff. Now, one of the really important reasons why we want to use one of these is at the end of the month, Google is going to give us a list of calls that we've received. And let's say, for example, you have 10 calls, and 5 of those, were legitimate calls, they're good calls, and the other 5, they were not good legitimate calls. Well, you have the capacity of saying like, hey, these were not good calls. They were calls for, this person called for a plumber. This person called, it was just a wrong number, yada, yada, yada. But in addition to that, we also want to have, and I'll show you right now, we can come over here and let's say, for example, we want to use this call enabled connection feature where we click on this and we actually hear that, hey, this is a Google guaranteed lead. So this is a whisper that comes into us and it says, so I know instantly when I get a phone call from this number. Now you can, if you're a member, you can actually come over and click on, if you want to take it one step further, you can add a separate dedicated number. The phone numbers are only, $1 like per month on an ongoing basis, and you can actually build in specific workflows specifically for that. So you're like, anytime I get a inbound Google phone call, I want to be notified via text message. I want to be, I want to create an opportunity. I want all of these things to happen after the fact. I want to follow up instantly with a text message if I miss that phone call, so I can begin to, so I don't lose that number. And then also with that, as I was touching on, at the end of the month, you can say, hey, I got 10 phone calls, 5 of them were good, the other 5 were not good. Well, we have the capacity to not have to pay for those other 5 phone calls that were not good. And this is something that once you go through and you get approved for and you're confirmed on, we can actually help out with saying like, hey, these are the phone calls that came from this, and these are the good ones, these are the not good ones. And once you're approved, we can actually add you to a process where we can actually see some of your stuff and be able to submit that information for you at a future time. Almost kind of like a monthly thing where it's like, hey, this is the inventory of what we got, and these are the ones that were good, these are the ones that are not good. So that'll really help cut down on budget, but also give you the opportunity to say, hey, if this happens, then I want X, Y, and Z to happen. So just kind of walk you through, we have, I'll click on this. You can, if you wanted to add a number in, you just hit the add number. I'll give you an example right here to show again, what we would do in that particular situation where we'd want to have the call connection feature enabled on. And what this does is it says it's a little bit of a whisper. So it'll say, you have a call from Google guaranteed, press 1 to connect. So we know that that's connected, that's tracking. So we have that, and then you can put in whatever whisper message that you want right here. You just say, hey, Google guaranteed call, or whatever that may be. So I'm going to unclick that right now just for the sake of demonstration purposes, but that's how you do that. That is going to be on the very first page when we're filling out the information. There's a place for your phone number. You can plug in your phone number there, and that's where we'd want to get that. So settings, phone numbers, and then you want to grab that phone number, whatever that is, and you could even name it, Google, inbound Google phone numbers, if you wanted to take that step further. So once you go through this process there and you are, you got all your stuff submitted, your headshot, your hours, your insurance, all that good stuff, then you should be able to submit that, get a response back. I'm hearing reports of sometimes, hours if everything's are all good, and then sometimes like weeks for review and process and approval. But there you go, guys. Again, bookmark this on your own page. After you get approved, we can actually grab this customer ID number and get that plugged into our back end. You do have to go through, you do have to get approved. We can add them in batches of 10. So right now, we can, once we have 10 new people to add in, we can add in a batch of 10 to get that approved. It's not the greatest, smoothest process as of right now, but again, it is new on the Google side, so they're still developing the product as we speak. So I think there's a lot of upside here, for a lot of people. I don't think it's going to be around, I feel like there's, it's one of those things that could be really, really good, but we don't know how long of a time of a runway there will be on this. So with that being said, there's some real key takeaways that you can take and implement. We're happy to have ongoing continued conversations about this. We will definitely be helping to push and promote. And again, guys, when you're doing this stuff, there's a, as you're going through this, there's actually a cost calculator. It'll show you how much each area. You can plug in your zip code and stuff, and it'll give you some estimates of how much things are. We're not charging anything for helping out if you get plugged in. If you're on the platform, it's not like, hey, we're going to bill X amount of dollars on top of that. So so if you're using the CRM and the conversion platform, plug in. We can help walk through. If you need help with phone numbers and setting that stuff up, absolutely more than happy to help out with any of that stuff there. As you're going through and working on, if you do take the initiative and start setting this stuff up yourself, they do have a phone number. This is one of the only support phone numbers that I've ever seen Google or Facebook ever provide. So obviously they're clearly trying to help motivate people to get plugged into this product of theirs. So there you have it, guys. If you have questions or need help, feel free to reach out or follow up on this wherever you found this video. And yeah, there we go, guys. Let's rock and roll.